So today I'm going to tell you how to live your sex life as a healthy and nourishing but varied and delicious nutrition. Now, some of you might think, what? Healthy, nutritious? Do we really want to think about sex in those terms? Isn't it a little bit serious, a little bit like well-being, while, sex is about fun and excitement and pleasure and celebration. And hopefully a lot of people who are listening to this are interested in learning how to make their sex life feel really healthy and really nourishing and actually nutritious at the same time as really rich and sexy. But if you're one of those people to who healthy and nourishing feels a little bit boring, then what I want to say with this is there is an answer to this question that a lot of people are asking themselves. Is it possible for us to have a sex life that is hot, passionate, it's exciting, it's adventurous, it is fun, but at the same time it doesn't feel completely superficial, completely on the surface, it doesn't feel shallow. It also has depth, it feels meaningful, it feels loving, it feels soulful, it feels emotionally nourishing. Is it possible for us to have everything? Is it possible for us to have fun and excitement and adventure without that feeling that it comes with superficiality? And is it possible for us to also have deep and meaningful and loving and nourishing sex that doesn't feel excessively boring or tedious or restrictive? Can we have it all? And the answer is yes, absolutely, if you treat your sex life as nutrition. What I'm going to tell you today is how to make your sex life really nutritious, really nourishing for your life. How your sex life can make you feel really great in life, can optimize your well-being, but also it has enough variety and lots of really delicious and tasty things for you to eat. And how you can make sure that your sex life is not restrictive to a few kinds of sex, but it is the opposite. It is expansive. It diversifies into more and more different kinds of sex that feel amazing to you in different ways. So whenever I teach people, I really believe in being expansive. I don't believe in being restrictive. I believe in adding more experiences to your sex life. I don't believe in cutting down or reducing your experiences in your sex life if you like them. You don't need to choose. There is no need to choose. You can have all kinds of sex. You should have all kinds of sex that you like. It is wonderful to experience the variety of what life has to offer to you. It is wonderful to enjoy all of it. But there is a certain logic to it. There is just common sense to it, which I'm sure you will see as total, simple common sense. It is about being aware of a certain hierarchy of needs, of what are your important nutrients in your life. What is really important to you in life? What is more important? What are the priorities? It's about making sure that your real needs are fulfilled and they're fulfilled well. And it's about making sure that you have a good, sensible balance in your life between all the things that you do that really address your real needs in life. So you just need to be clear what your real needs are in sex. And then you just need to have your priorities straight. And then you can actually have everything. So I find this analogy with nutrition really useful, with creating a nutrition that is healthy for you. It is really nourishing for you. It makes you feel good. It is well optimized, but at the same time, it is varied and you are feeding your real needs with it. But at the same time, you can have everything because your real needs are fulfilled. So I see a lot of parallels between sex and nutrition. So first of all, the obvious place to start would be to say that sex is nutrition. It is. It absolutely is. You need to see sex as nutrition, not as entertainment, because it is. I have a whole episode on how sex really affects your well-being, and pretty much every piece of content I make is about the fact that sex is actually a really powerful energy that really feeds your senses. It fulfills really important needs that you have in interaction with your lover. It really affects how you feel. It really affects your well-being, your life. So it is a very impactful and powerful energy. So sex absolutely is nutrition. It is not nutrition for your body. This is a misunderstanding that we have in our sex culture, that sex mostly does something to your body, that the effects of sex are physical. The majority of the effects of sex are not physical. They are emotional, they are psychological, they are in your life energy, they are in how you feel in yourself as a person. So you can see sex as nutrition for your soul, nutrition for your heart, nutrition for your psyche. And of course, by extension, it becomes nutrition for your relationship, because it really feeds your relationship with that connection, with that love, with that energy of togetherness. So in sex, we receive nutrition in the form of sexual energy. And this is an idea that I explained in my very first episode on how to open a whole new world of sex for yourself. And what I understand by sexual energy is just a mix of feelings that we receive as human beings in sex. It is not just a physical sensation. It is a real kind of aliveness and nourishment for your body. Your body, through the nervous system, receives a much more profound impact than just some physical pleasure. It is basically a state of aliveness, a state of blissfulness that spreads through your nervous system and affects you really powerfully. It goes really deep. But we also receive more than just that physical sensation, physical energy traveling through you. We are also receiving feelings of love, of connection, of beauty, and other senses that we like to enjoy in sex. So all these feelings for our psyche, they are actually substances. All these feelings, they feed our psyche as if they were substances, and they have that impact on us that makes us feel really well, and we feel that we have been really nourished by sex, and that is then expressed in our life, in how we feel about ourselves, the energy we have, how we do things, how we relate to other people, how we feel with our lovers. So it's just a very potent, very powerful, positive energy. Now, there are different sides to us as persons, and different things that we want to experience and do with our partners in our relationship, and different sides of that relationship that we want to experience in sex as well. So we like to have fun, we like to do something hot, but we also want to feel loved, we also want to feel connection, we also sometimes need to be nourished, to be restored, to be regenerated, to just receive kind of regenerative, restorative energy. We want sometimes to try something new, something exciting, and sometimes we want to be really deeply intimate and loved. So none of these needs are wrong or need to be cut out. There is just a reality that we have different needs. We want to experience different things. We want to feed different sides of ourselves. And with our partners in sex, we also want to experience those different dimensions to our relationship. So we want to go on an adventure and do something fun together. We want to live it up and do something hot and passionate and raw, but we also want to feel a deep love and deep connectedness with our lovers. And we also want sometimes to just really relax in a restorative, regenerative space of sex and be nourished by it and be in that kind of blissful, trancy, maybe even spiritual state of sex. So we don't really want to choose one kind of sex and practice it to death. We actually want to have these different experiences because they're all important to us. They're all a part of the variety of life, and they all feed us in different ways. They feed me who needs love. They feed me who likes excitement. They feed me who needs to be restored. They feed me who needs connection. They feed me who likes to have fun. So these become like micronutrients that we can receive. So the sexual energy that we feel in sex, as in, that feeling that nourishes us in this moment, that we are absorbing, that we are drinking from this moment of sex, that we are taken into our system, that is influencing our system in this moment. That sexual energy is not one substance, one element. It is more like a spectrum. It is an umbrella term for all the energies that you can feel in sex. There are different kinds of sexual energies. It is because they can have different colors, different compositions, depending on what feeling you're having sex with in this moment. So just to give you a few examples, because it's very difficult to put names on it, their experiences, their feelings. So you could feel more kind of more nurturing, more subtle, more gentle, more deep. It could feel really electric, really intense. It could feel more loving. It could feel more blissful. It could feel more raw, it could feel more hot. So it's a bit like you mix a cocktail from different ingredients, but you might mix them in different proportions, so you're making different cocktails depending on what you're doing today in sex. So importantly, if you want sex to make you feel a certain way, then your technique needs to contain that feeling. You need to know how to create that feeling in your technique. Just to explain what I mean by this. If you want sex to be exciting, then you are doing something exciting in your technique. If you want sex to feel loving, to feel connecting, to feel intimate, to feel nurturing, then your sexual technique needs to be such that it contains the feeling of love, of nurturing, of connection, of intimacy that your partner will actually perceive physically. Now, why am I stating the obvious here? Because what often happens is that people want to feel intimacy and love and deep connection in sex, and they're doing something exciting. Well, if you're doing something exciting, then you're creating a feeling of excitement. That is what your technique is producing. You can try to feel loved and connected and deeply nourished by it until the cows come home. But you won't, because that is not what this technique is making. Now, where the issue really comes in is that in our culture, we generally speaking do not have any of these kinds of sex as a technique, as a practice. We actually have only one kind of sex in our sex culture. And that sex is the exciting sex. It's only the part of the spectrum of all the sexual experiences that is only delivering to you fun and excitement. So it is not a problem to include all kinds of sex. But if we really holding on to that exciting, fun sex like it's going to be taken away from us, it is not because we are losing something. We have already lost everything else. This is the only kind of sex we normally have. So we're trying to satisfy all our needs, all our energetic needs, emotional needs, relational needs, with just that fun and exciting sex. And it just doesn't work. It delivers only one kind of experience, and it does not feed our other needs in sex. So the problem is not so much that we need to stop having fun and exciting sex. The problem is we need to stop having only fun and exciting sex, because that is restrictive. That is very limiting. So here is the simplest way to go about it. Now, I'm not a fan of really complex classifications just to be really clever, and many different types of lovers and different types of combinations and everything, because it just makes things really complex and really heady for you. If you know my work, I like to keep things as simple as possible, because life is complicated enough. So it is nice to keep sex really intuitive and really simple, but good. A certain level of complexity is necessary to make sex good. Otherwise, you're going to do something really basic that's not going to be very nice. So you can just think about it as having only two types of sex: nourishing sex and fun sex. That is all you need to know. So nourishing sex is, as the name suggests, the sex that primarily nourishes you. So what you're focusing in this kind of sex is not how exciting it is, how it is entertaining, how fun it is. You're focusing on how nourishing it feels to you. So this kind of sex, you're having it because it feeds you with really lovely, nourishing energy into your body. Your body comes alive with it. Your body feels enriched by it. This sex also nourishes your heart, your soul, with love, physical love that flows through your bodies, with that feeling of connection. So you're receiving from this kind of sex beautiful energy, love, and connection. These are really powerful nutrients that nourish you. In this kind of sex, you are not concerned with how exciting it is. It does not need to be exciting, doesn't need to be fun, doesn't need to be entertaining. It's not important. What is important is that it is nourishing. It is giving you that enriching energy. It is making you feel loved. It is making you feel connection. That in itself is going to make you feel amazing without any fun or excitement. So not having fun or excitement doesn't mean that it feels like some kind of a really still cuddle, something really sterile. No, it can feel really sexual. It can feel really rich, really beautiful. It's just you are not trying to engage yourself by getting excited. You are just feeling the real richness and beauty of that sexual energy, how amazing it feels, how gorgeous it feels, and how nourishing it feels, how it feeds you. And you are tuning into that feeling of love and connection that is also flowing into you. So all of this is actually a very rich experience, and you will feel really aroused, and you will feel your body being sexual, but in that kind of different way of aliveness and the nourishing quality of it. So nourishing sex can take a few different forms. I teach different degrees of nourishing sex in my courses because it needs to really adjust to your energy levels. Sometimes you have a lot of sexual energy, so you might do a lot of stuff with this kind of sex. It might be quite active. It might involve a lot of intercourse or genital stimulation. It might be quite strong sexual energy that is still focusing on being nourishing for you. And sometimes you don't have a lot of energy. You want something really relaxed, really revitalizing. So you might be doing very low-key, very gentle, very relaxed forms of nourishing sex. They would involve having sex with very gentle sexual energy in a low arousal state to avoid any intensity, where you are in a parasympathetic state, which is very restorative and very regenerative. So I teach different kinds of this kind of low energy sex. Sometimes they might not involve genitals at all. Sometimes they might involve genitals in a very gentle state. So you can have varieties of nourishing sex. You can have different degrees of it, different intensities. But one thing it has in common is that you are completely not concerned with how exciting or fun it is. You are concerned with how it is feeding you, how it is nourishing you, with three things: energy, love, and connection. And then you have your fun sex. Now, I call it fun sex, but really it's kind of a bucket for all the kinds of sex that you would do just for the kind of excitement of it, the adventure of it, the hotness of it, the sexiness of it, just to live it up, just to celebrate. So it doesn't mean that, it's fun in a kind of a comedy sort of way. It just means that it's an experience for the excitement of it. So everything can go into this bucket. You could have sex that is just, passionate. It is just really erotic. It's just really sexy because you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of desire, you just kind of, collide into each other and you just consume each other. Passionate sex is sometimes considered some kind of a really kind of elevated spiritual sex. It is just fun sex. You are just enjoying the sexiness, the kind of hotness of the bodies. It doesn't actually have a lot of nutrition, a lot of nutritious quality to the sexual energy that you experience in passionate sex. I have an episode on that as well. So anything erotic, anything sexy that you just want to do, some kind of variety, some kind of a different situation, some kind of a different flow to it that is just really exciting for you. And here you can put all the other things that you might want to explore, some kind of a particular practices in sex that attract you, that you are curious about. You can do kind of sexual adventures and try things that are actually fun and whatever. So you can see that it's quite simple, really. You have one kind of sex that really feeds you, really nourishes your important needs with vitality, with energy, with love, with connection, with well-being. You have another kind of sex that gives you fun and excitement and adventure. It is just a matter of balance. It is just realizing what different kinds of sex do, making sure that you have a good balance between them in your life. It is about making sure that the important needs are fulfilled, that you are getting that nourishment from sex, that you are fed with that aliveness, that well-being, those energies, that love, that connection. And within that sex life, where you are getting enough proper nutrition, you can have all that fun and exciting stuff just to enjoy it, just to live it up, just to experience those really wonderful experiences. But what you do not do is have fun and exciting sex for all of your sex, expecting it to feed you with energy, with love, with connection, with intimacy, with vitality, with well-being, because it doesn't have that nutrition. It doesn't carry those nutrients. It has a different kind of experience for you that doesn't have nutrition, but it is more about entertainment and excitement, and that's great, that's fantastic. But if that is the only thing you are getting, then you are not getting real nutrition. And likewise, if you are getting enough nutrition, then by all means, when the mood is right, have all your other experiences, because it's only going to make your sex life richer. So the question of what kind of sex is it more important to have should be pretty obvious. It should be a real no-brainer. On one side, we have vitality, well-being, energy, love, connection. On the other side, we have fun or excitement. Is it more important for you to feel vitality, love, connection, well-being in your life? Or Is it more important to feel fun and excitement? Now, you have to choose one. Obviously, both is an obvious answer, but if you have to choose one, I expect that you're probably choosing nourishing sex as the more influential, the more potent for you, the more powerful for you, the more important for your life and for your relationship. And it is true. So what is important is to prioritize nourishing sex, to make sure that you get enough nourishing sex, and to not fret so much and to not stress so much about how much fun or exciting sex you are having, because that has kind of a secondary impact. While you want it, it just has a less powerful impact, less influential, less essential impact on you, on your life, on your well-being, and on your relationship. The other thing to consider, nourishing sex is nourishing. So it is regenerative, it gives you energy, you restore energy, you generate energy in it. Fun and exciting sex, generally speaking, is spending. Generally speaking, is quite intense, it's quite physical, it's quite proactive. If not physically, then at least psychologically, there's a lot of stimulation in it. And there are different brain states. They are not regenerative, restorative states, as in nourishing sex. They are more states of excitation, which is essentially work for your system. So this is another thing to keep in mind, that it depends if in real life you actually have energy for fun and exciting sex, because it is a spend, it is a party. Now, if you do, that's great, you can have it. If you don't, then trying to force some kind of fun or exciting sex is going to be depleting for you, it's going to be counterproductive, and it's much better to have nourishing sex instead that will actually regenerate you. And of course, realistically, what happens in normal life is that there are more days when you need to be nourished than there are days when you can afford to spend. So by that logic, nourishing sex is going to be more important for you simply because it's going to be more frequent. There will be more days when you need nourishing sex than there will be days when you can afford spending sex. Here we are talking mainly in the context of a longer term relationship when sexual energy has calmed down, of course. If you are not in a relationship, if you are in a more casual setup, if you don't have a partner, if you're just in the beginning, you're just dating somebody, then it really depends. Because it really depends on each setup, on each dynamic, and what sort of sexual energy you have. But you can still apply the same logic to think about different kinds of sex that you would like to experience, and different experiences that you would like for yourself, different energies. And you can simply have different experiences because you enjoy different experiences, because you like that feeling of nutritiousness in different ways. But in a long-term relationship, approaching your sex life like this as a healthy, balanced diet is essential. Because if you don't, you're really malnourishing your relationship. If you're focusing mainly on adventurous, hot, fun, exciting sex, then there are really important nutrients, the most important nutrients for your relationship that are absent from it. The feelings of connection and loving each other's bodies and revitalizing and nourishing each other's bodies. This is the most important energy that you need to get in a long-term relationship that will really feed you. So your sex in a longer-term relationship needs to be based around nourishing sex primarily, and fun sex as just an occasional option. So that's about it. If you want to learn more about how to practice different kinds of sex, especially nourishing kind of sex, go check out my website, check out my online courses. I teach everything in detail, and there should probably be even a free course for you, how to start off with a few skills already that will make sex a lot more nourishing. So go check it out. It should be free for you. I'll put all the links below. Until next time.